Fashion has seen plenty of iconic moments over the years, but honestly, nothing quite compares to the era of the supermodel. While the term itself has a long history, everything truly exploded in the 1990s. It all started in 1990 when Peter Lindbergh photographed 5 women for a now legendary British Vogue cover: Christy Turlington, Linda Evangelista, Naomi Campbell, Cindy Crawford, and Tatjana Patitz. You could say this single photograph was the spark that launched the entire era. Lindbergh captured them in simple jeans and tops. No heavy makeup, no fuss. He preferred black and white, creating these gritty yet incredibly elegant portraits. It celebrated strong, independent women and completely shifted the direction of fashion photography. Suddenly, these weren't just models. They were supermodels. They were appearing on every major cover simultaneously and were globally recognised by just their first names. It was a massive industry shift, linking high fashion with mass market appeal and celebrity culture. Even if you didn't follow fashion, you knew exactly who these women were. They were defined by their healthy, athletic proportions and their distinct personalities. First, there was Linda, the chameleon. She was famous for constantly changing her hair and style, and she's still considered one of the most versatile models in history. Then you had Christy, the classic beauty. Often called the face of the 20th century, she brought a refined, timeless elegance to every frame. Of course, we have Naomi, the natural mover. Known for that unparalleled rhythmic runway walk, she was a force of nature who broke massive barriers as a black supermodel. Then there was Cindy, the all-American girl. With her healthy, athletic physique and that girl-next-door charm, she was the bridge between high fashion and commercial appeal. And finally, Tatjana, the feline-eyed chameleon. She had this unique, ethereal beauty with cat-like features and an aura of cool, enigmatic sophistication. By the end of 1990, George Michael cast them in his Freedom 90 music video, and suddenly, they weren't just models, they were pop culture icons. That video was a defining moment, bridging the gap between the runway and the charts. But if you want to see the peak of this era, look no further than the 1991 Versace finale. The 4 of them walked the runway together singing along to Freedom. It wasn't a subtle introduction, it was a celebration. Industry pros still point to this as the moment the supermodel era was solidified, turning the runway into a massive media spectacle. Around this time, photographer Stephen Meisel, a huge figure in their careers, dubbed Naomi, Linda and Christy as the Trinity. They were close friends, incredibly powerful in the industry, and were often booked as a trio. But as the decade moved on, the lineup shifted. While the others maximised their visibility, Tatjana gradually pulled back. At the same time, Claudia Schiffer became a household name, effectively taking a spot in the core group. Then Kate Moss rose to prominence, solidifying her place alongside the Big Five. However, the peak eventually began to fade. The industry started moving away from that glamorous, athletic look toward a more minimalist, fragile and androgynous aesthetic. And another change was emerging. By the late 90s, actresses and celebrities began replacing models on magazine covers, and once that happened, it never really went back. And designers shifted their focus back to the clothes, moving away from the celebrity model. Despite the shifts in the industry, the original 90s supers never truly left the cultural conversation. They didn't just retire, they evolved. We still see designers today, from Versace to Fendi, bringing them back to the runway, not just for the nostalgia, but for that unmatchable impact that a 20-year-old influencer just can't replicate. In essence, the supermodel era was a lightning in a bottle moment. These women were the first to become high-profile personalities who truly owned their own image. They've redefined what longevity looks like in a notoriously fickle industry, proving they can remain super for decades. They successfully transitioned from being the face of a brand to being the brand itself, building business empires and philanthropic legacies that stand on their own. The original supermodels still carry an aura of untouchable stardom. In an age of instant digital access and oversaturation, they represent a level of mystery and glamour that feels increasingly rare. They aren't just icons of the past, they are the blueprint for the future. And that's exactly what makes their appearances today feel less like a comeback, and more like a reminder of who really runs the room.